Hey, this is Gabe Cooper with some fast takes in fundraising from Virtuous Software. Today we have Brad Davies with us. So Brad, welcome. Just real quick here, tell us your title and what you do for a living.
Yeah, I am the fundraiser in chief at Hatch Fundraising. And so we help organizations find new donors and then make them lifelong supporters.
I love it. So what's the one goal you're working to reach? What's your sort of purpose in life right now with Hatch?
Man, we are trying to improve the 1-year donor retention rate. It's sitting right now between 25 and 30%, and we are determined to double or triple that. We'd love to see an increase in that overall in the industry, but specifically for our clients, we really want to see that number go up for people. We think it's a key metric to growing revenues if they can sort that out.
And I know this is a lightning round, but I'd love just one or two bullets on what sort of tactics you guys are using to move the needle there, because it's a huge metric.
Yeah, one is having automation so automating the communications, making sure that they're embedded and improving, so you can go back and look month over month. Are open rates really good? Can we improve them? So you're getting better at those things, but then also segmenting these donors into just big groups that really make sense. So talking to someone as a husband or someone as a mother can make a big difference in terms of how well they relate to that content. And so just trying to be smarter and more sophisticated in those initial 30, 60, 90-day interactions with donors. We think that's going to we're seeing that have a big difference in terms of lifetime value and retention rate.
I love it. I love it. It's great. So books, what's the biggest book that's inspired you or had an impact on you?
Yeah, recently it's a book titled Unequal by a friend of mine, Ken Weitzma, and it really talks about really how white guys like me have really no sense for what it's like to be a person of color, and kind of gets into it historically and culturally and why things are not equal. And it's been really challenging to me and inspiring me to kind of be way more aware of what that's like.
That's great. Yeah. And that's one I'm adding to my list. It sounds amazing. So you're in technology and fundraising all day, every day. And so am I, but talk to me a little bit about how you think technology is making fundraising easier.
Oh, it's so great today than it was just 5 years ago. But 5 years ago, to get some of the reports I wanted, you had to have someone who understood Crystal Reports or NewSQL to pull some of the data. And now it's just not the case. There's so many good third-party tools where you throw your data in and they give you way more than you could have expected. But like just getting insight into your data does not take a data scientist anymore. And that's awesome. The other thing is it's getting so much easier to create smart, intuitive experiences for donors online that doesn't require you to be a coder or no code to drop some JavaScript on a page and be able to create intelligent pop-ups, to be able to personalize content, to show social proof on a donation page. It's getting so much easier and really improving the experience for people. And I love it. It's like about time we got there.
Yeah, we were as an industry, we were a little bit late to the game, but now that we're getting here, it's a lot of fun.
It's so much fun now, and it's cheap. It's gone, and the prices come down too, which has really helped a lot. It used to be only the biggest organizations could afford this stuff, and it's not the case anymore, which is so awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So in the orgs you're working with, what's been the biggest challenge as people look at implementing new technology? What's the kind of biggest hurdle they face?
Yeah, it's partly understanding it. Most people, if they're shy of technology, they just don't even consider it or consider what it can bring them. And so kind of getting over that, brain hurt, kind of like, oh, I don't want to know about technology or CRM. It's like, no, you need to care. And it's not that hard. Here are the principles of it. So that's been a piece. The other thing is, how does it fit in with everything else I have going on? So understanding the interrelationship and how a best of breed technology approach is the right one. But to do that, it takes some understanding of what does what well, even though your CRM can do all this stuff, maybe it shouldn't. Maybe you shouldn't run your donation pages through your CRM or your CMS. Maybe it should be a different tool. But to understand that and how it relates and affects the organization is tough. And luckily there's folks who are making that easier, like Virtuous, and other people who have a lot of experience and who get to play with these tools. And so they can give you some insight into what that combination or stack of tech of software might look like for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I love that. I mean, obviously we're in the technology business, but in so many cases, being successful amounts to a culture shift in the organization as much as it is a technology shift, and it's so helpful to recognize that going in.
Do you want better results? People who are not okay with the status quo, they're in a good shape. But if you are, then it's going to be hard to get any kind of software, implemented or move towards anything that's different.
Yeah. What have you done? And honestly, this is a software question. What have you done to sort of gain buy-in organizationally for software? But honestly, it applies to some of the stuff you guys are doing around fundraising too, kind of, anything that's new or innovative or a change. What do you do organizationally to get buy-in?
Yeah, we usually try to just emphasize their pain points. They already know them. Instinctively, they know, we don't have good sense for what our lifetime value is, or we don't really know how we're getting new donors or where they're coming from. And so not just letting them be okay with that, but like actually pressing on it and like, oh, you don't know that? Oh, well, here's why that's important. And then showing them why. Giving them when we have this, it makes everything else line up so much easier. So I press them pain points. I show them the solution if we understand it. And that way I'm like, well, here's how we're going to get there. We need this, or we need to start to do things in this way. Yeah. And, but yeah, I love, I love pressing on pain points when it helps to get to good outcomes. Yeah. And that's how I've been able to do that.
Yeah. Gosh, I love that. And it's about quantifying the pain point too. We have so many orgs where we go in and they're talking about like what amounts to a $500 a year problem and how they're not sure if they can handle it, but then being able to cycle back to like the stat you always use about how many donors go on to give a second gift. So if you can, right now, only 25% of your donors are giving a second gift. If we can move that from 25% to 35%, that's a $500,000 a year problem for you guys. So I don't know why we're talking about the $500 a year problem. There's a solution. The pain is the $500,000 a year problem. So being able to quantify that pain and point back to it, I think is huge.
Yeah, I love that. And anymore, the ability to find data, to find stats on the internet, and a lot of people are putting out some great benchmarks, and I keep collecting them. If anything, I collect benchmarks these days, and I just go through them and I compare like, how are they looking at this compared to this? But there's such a good sense of here's other people in my sector or in my industry, and they're doing this. Well, if I can take that and extrapolate it out, I can really start to see, okay, this is a big pain point for us. If we're only retaining 25 of our first year donors, if we can, like you said, move to 35, well, that's 35 more people I have. If I know the lifetime value, it's real money coming into year two, and it drops our cost to acquire new donors. It's big, but a lot of that was kind of hidden previously. You didn't have a lot of access to it. You had to ask a consultant to give it to you, and even then their experience was based on their 12 or 20 clients. Yeah. And so to look at data sets of 2,000 people or 5,000 people really starts to help answer those questions, and it helps people get over the hump like, oh, I see why this is a big deal now. This is a $500,000 issue, not a $500, kind of a thing.
Oh, that's great. Well, hey, Brad, it's been a joy having you for the lightning round. Really appreciate it. Stay out of trouble. I love the New York back. I think that's the Flatiron there over your head.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Avenue of America is Fifth Avenue. There you go.
Yeah, that's right. Well, yeah, it's been great having you. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Gabe. It was fun.